I can't do it. I can't. I give up. Y'all win.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, and we're all prepared here. I'm a D&D sex icon, and we're back today with yet another episode of The Long March, Kingmaker. So let's get to it, my friends. Let's go around the cast and crew. Let's figure out who we are and who we're going to be playing today. And let's start with our Dungeon Master, Josh. How's it going, Josh?
It's going well. Yeah, I've come from like Vecna Lives with Love Lindy and an amazing cast over there, and laughed more than I can remember. Like, I had to walk away because I was laughing so much. So I'm really prepared for dark, gritty, dark fantasy. As Will put it, it's so dark I can't even see the fantasy.
We're gonna, yeah, I've got to take off my dark fantasy shades now so I can pierce through the veil of this fantasy. Great stuff, like, thank you for joining us, Josh. And we also have with us today Jess, Little Cup of Joe. How's it going, Jess?
It's going great. We've been laughing a lot here already, which is perfect to set the mood for this dark fantasy stuff. Yeah, I play Lucy, the human wizard, possibly edging into druid, maybe? Something's going on with her. We'll see what.
Interesting. Great stuff. We also have Laurelania back with us tonight. Tia, how's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Everything is off to a great start today. Couldn't find the mute button. Anyways, I'm super excited to be playing Sarah, my... Who am I today? They're all blending together. Sarah, 5th edition fighter, archer, cleric, and I'm looking forward to hopefully finding the prince eventually. Where is he? We're in the forest somewhere. That's what's going on. Anyways, hi. Let's just keep it going. Next.
Yeah, let's linger on that for a little longer and just really process everything that Tia said. But after that, let's move on to Tool School. How's it going, Tool School?
Doing well. I'm here for some dark fantasy to be the darkest dark in the fantasy of fantasy. I'm playing Calvin. How you doing? It's good to see you. I'm Calvin Hobbs, and I'm here. I'm your local bard. And yeah, we were supposed to be at a coronation, but we're like halfway to Sunday out in the middle of the forest, like turning into Vision Quest druid folk. And yeah, yeehaw. Let's get back to some fun excitement.
Let's do just that. As myself, I'll be reprising my role as Curtis Fearson. He's a human rogue, and he's feeling a little bit guilty right now for everything that's happened to the party, and especially Sarah, so he's going to be dealing with that. But before we get into the game, I remind you guys, of course, of a couple of things. First of which, we are sponsored here today by Fantasy Grounds, so go to fantasygrounds.com and check out their virtual tabletop. You can try it out for free with their demo version. We can get a license for like $4. So go ahead and check out fantasygrounds.com. All the rolls and dice and tokens are from there. And of course, whalengames.co.uk. Go to Whaling Games and check out all of their miniature lines as well as their RPGs as well. If you're looking to pick up your own D&D5E books or any role-playing game, really, you can get them there at up to 20% off the retail value. And they have a bunch of pre-orders going right now for the latest D&D books coming out. So definitely go and check those out. Of course, you guys can interact with today's show. If you haven't followed yet, hit the follow button and join us. When we hit 30 followers, you guys get to decide something which happens next in our game. Also, here is the tweet for you guys. 20 retweets and another viewer decision. We're already over halfway there, so let's keep that train rolling. And of course, last but not least, you can donate to affect the game by giving players net 1s, net 20s, wild magic surges, and worse. Speaking of wild magic surges, Isriva has given Lucy 8 wild magic surges just to kick things off, just to keep it spicy.
Thank you so much.
We can get to those in just a minute. But I will hand over to Josh to remind us of what happened last week on the show and to take us into this night's episode of The Long March.
Will, I thought we agreed Tia was doing a recap. She remembers so much and is so on the ball. Isn't that
like
I haven't even finished my socials yet. I'm still telling people on Facebook that we're live, okay?
Useless, absolutely useless. So as we've been let down, everyone spammer let down there in chat, we will take you back to last week where the party actually found themselves in rather fortuitous situation of not dying, not being starving, and being relatively safe, which was a relaxing change of pace for them. We woke up to see that most of the party had healed quite well, though Sarah was still struggling with her arm, which was torn off, badly reattached by Calvin, who isn't a healer, was really doing anything he could to try and save the arm. The party was in a pretty piss-poor state, but after a good night's rest, they weren't feeling better than they had any right to. Curtis and Lucy discovered that Lucy had been summoned before an elder, a sage, someone important in the tribe who had something to discuss with her or to show her. We'll get to a little bit more on that in just a moment, but Curtis had a discussion with one of the healers and found out that their companion, the most loved, definitely the most hated, Duran, who's traveling with them, was gravely injured, but somehow had clung to life, despite the fact that he was run through by a huge piece of timber that just, felled him straight through the stomach. He refused to die, despite the fact his heart stopped on multiple occasions, and they pronounced him dead, going so far as to put the ritualistic markings to mark him for the death journey upon his skin before they'd even completed them. His heart restarted again, clinging on to life against all odds. And taking courage from that, the healer told Curtis that the same blood that gives him strength also flows through Sarah's veins. Not her father, but someone related to her by blood. And that is possibly what is seeing her recover so quickly. So more on that as it develops. Meanwhile, Calvin made a friend, worked out a whole bunch, managed to add one to his strength score as from a previous Wild Magic Surge. Calvin getting swole. Swole as fuck. So, yeah. Getting them gains in. Made friends with some of the locals, busied himself, and experienced local culture, which was a lot of hard labor, a lot of cold showers, and quite a bit of walking around all his business, hanging out, which was fun for everyone. Lucy seemed to particularly enjoy Calvin. Yeah, just living viva la naturelle. After that, you guys gathered with Arvin Bale, had a chat with him. You exchanged information. He explained that it was understood by the local tribe that outsiders, people from the outside world, from outside the forest, had slain their men who had gone to peacefully treat in secret Prince Henry Renford ahead of his coronation, so he could immediately begin either negotiation for his land or for food to be sent, something to come into his coronation and sort of show him to have strength and alliances already forming. Never happened. Both parties were butchered, and the assailants are, as of yet, at large. So not a lot was really gained from it, other than it was kind of assumed that you guys weren't a threat to them, and he's trying to turn the people more towards your side. Lucy went and had a meeting with a sage and found out that she has a spirit animal of sorts, a white stag that has been trailing her for quite some time. Because of this, she was sent on a quest. Doesn't know how she got there, but she found herself alone in the forest without her magic, without her book of spells or anything, armed only with a dagger of the tribe. She is loose there in the forest and went through a series of small trials, but in the midst of that she saw something as she soared like an eagle above the forest. So we're gonna go through some of these wild magic surges and find out what other terrible things being on a spirit quest will do to you. She looks assured, so I'm confident it's all good.
Yep, it's fine. This is fine. Let's see. Everyone within 100 yards gets to give me a gold piece.
Okay.
Taxes, man.
Unfortunately, I'm alone in the forest, so... Target is killed outright if struck by a blood relative. That has me deeply, deeply worried for backstory reasons.
Wait, target
is killed outright if struck by a blood relative.
Okay.
I'm very worried. Moving right along. Target's weapon appears to be made of diamond.
Okay.
Cool.
I did say it was like a
target
blue
flees.
slate dagger, so yeah.
Yeah, now it's a blue diamond dagger, I guess. Target flees into the forest if struck by magic in the next turn.
How
Well, I'm already there, so whatever. Caster can turn their head completely around once per day.
Oh,
Like an owl.
That's yeah, okay.
Caster's home is leveraged in a speculative financial scheme.
Okay.
Did you not pay your mortgage on your wizard tower?
Well,
The
everything
wizard
is
school
shit in
bills are
Breckendale right
crazy,
now
man.
anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, Breckendale's.
One magic potion nearby is instantly lethal. And I believe that's all of them.
Okay. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. You guys that may not remember this. It was actually a thing that was discovered. You guys have a mixed. You have potions that you barter for. One of them is unlabeled, and they don't know what it is. Maybe don't drink. maybe Curtis might want to look into that.
Yeah, Curtis says
I'll investigate that.
8 healing potions.
Yeah.
They're like a 1 in 8 chance or something going on here.
Yeah, it's like saying in chat Russian roulette with healing potions.
I like that.
Here, take this.
Try this one. This will be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be great.
Cool. I'm probably homeless. I'm upside down on my Breckendale wizard mortgage. It's fine. It's all good.
Well, we're gonna start this episode off with someone called the Watcher. The Watcher is standing on what appears to be a main street. The floor has covered their surroundings. It's muddy and thick and wet, and there was grass, some clumps still sort of floating on the surface of the water. Droplets of rain are hitting it. It is dark all around. Their feet are entirely missing, sunken into the dirt. And this murky water rises up almost to their knees. As they look around, there are noises that surround them. They're in what looks to be a town, not a large settlement by any extent, maybe 30 or so buildings, and they're modest dwellings, mostly made of wood, thatch roofs, no towering spires or nothing to denote a cathedral or a guards post, anything like that, and there are no walls surrounding this town. It is surprisingly warm here despite the cold water. And the warmth comes from a dozen fires. Fires are burning out of control and are primarily focused on buildings. Torches lay half embedded in thatch roofs, and there are the sounds of people screaming. The air is thick with smoke, choking words and sounds, but through it all, there is the noise of weapons. Not clashing against other weapons, no songs of steel singing against steel, but weapons biting into flesh and bone. Screams of those unable to defend themselves, fleeing. The Watcher looks around at indistinct faces. For a moment, glances a woman. She's running. A small bundle. Perhaps a child, wrapped in her arms. She stumbles for a split second, and there is a blinding flash of light that polarizes everything in front of the watcher. And as they watch on, her skin blackens, chars, and cracks. She pitches forward. The road she's standing on appears to be the main road that leads through this small dwelling. And the watcher, well, they look down the road past the fallen woman to a robed figure that is standing surrounded by men. The men are indistinct, heavily armored, heavily armed. They move coordinated. Their slaughter well trained and merciless. And the watcher sees the robed figure striding amongst them. Long dark robes, hands outstretched, detailing of blue and gold down either side. And he raises a hand, and as he does so, from his fingertips screams forth death. There is a building off to his right, which he points at, and from inside, footsteps are heard as people try and flee from where they have taken shelter, and the building detonates. There's kindling, charred wood, ash, kicked in every direction. And as this assailant casts its gaze around, looking for its next victim, it sees the watcher standing helpless, rooted to the spot, surrounded by death, the water around their feet turning red. There's a moment of recognition. It's more than that, though. It's remembering. A face once forgotten, now remembered. He looks up, and anger falls across his face. He raises his hand again, but this time there are no crackles of lightning. Something worse. Accusation. His hand trembles with rage. Traitor. You could have been with me. You could have stood by my side. This could be our victory. And as he speaks, figures move up on either side. They raise crossbows. Their faces indistinguishable like hazy memories. Their weapons crystal clear. Loaded, aiming. You had your chance. You failed us. He looks to the man to his left. Show no mercy. My sister means nothing to me. And Lucy, they fire at you.
Wonderful.
Lucy,
I run.
you feel the bolts slam into you, and as they knock you back, you are suddenly sprawled on your back in the grass. Not deep in mud, and there is no grey sky above you, there is the canopy of trees. You've startled your companion, great white stag that suddenly is on its feet. It gazes, looking for the threat in the forest.
Right. It's all right. Just a bad dream. Kind of will feel around just where she felt those bolts strike, almost just trying to confirm that that was or wasn't real.
You are unharmed. However, you are also not adorned in any of your usual garb. You've been given this clan-like robe that you've been wearing this whole time, and you don't have the comforting weight of your spellbook hanging beside you. But you do have your companion, and seeing no threat around, it looks at you and it gives you a rock steady stare that is just unwavering and full of understanding, compassion, and belief.
She'll just kind of reach up with both hands, lay them along the sides of the creature's head, and just kind of rest her head there against it. Never was much of an animal person, but very grateful to see you all of a sudden.
It nudges its head into you ever so slightly, seemingly trying to comfort you.
Do you know the way back? Can we go back now? I really should see the others. I need to tell them. Those forces from Brecondale.
It folds its legs, dropping torches, allowing you to climb on top.
She'll stand up a bit unsteadily, but kind of find her feet and then climb on top of the stag and just hold on. A little bit shaky, but gradually starting to regain some of her strength and resolve. Trying to put the images back from her mind. Right, lead the way, friend.
As you guys flee into the forest, finding your way back down a path only it knows, you get the sense of understanding. Whatever it is that you have been through, you didn't go through it alone. You'll never have to go through it alone. And you make your way back towards the camp. We'll cut back to the rest of the party. Lucy's been gone for quite some time. They will have found you, and they will have gathered you, and it'll be Arvin who speaks. Your friend is... She's been gone some time. Longer than is usual. By now, it's starting to get late in the day. The sun's hanging low, trees are casting long shadows, fires have been started, wood has already been gathered. He looks worried. It's not safe to be out after dark. There's a lot of superstitions that these folk have, their own demons.
I remember the woman said be careful. Do you think we should go and find her? Elise, what's her name?
Elise. He nods. If you're going, I'm coming with you. I'm not much of a fighter, but I know these lands. Dangerous as it might be, you're all guests here.
All right, then lead the way, Mr. Bale. Let's go and find our friend.
And he walks into the large open clearing where the main fire has already been started. And it's not roaring yet, but there's plenty of wood that has been stacked up around it. People are already sat in their downtime, some playing, some making small repairs to torn jerkins and hide armor and 1,001 other menial activities that take up their day-to-day. But Calvin, as you and the party make your way out, you notice one of the figures striding towards you with a couple of companions at her back is the wood elf you met before, who you had a little bit of a friendly competition with, and they are carrying riding gear with them.
I'm sorry, carrying riding
gear, saddles, and that sort of thing.
Well, what you know, we appreciate it. You joining us, or just help lending a hand?
She nods, and she has like quite a dark expression, and she glances up at the equally dark sky now and shakes her head. It's been gone too long.
I'm checking my notes up and down. I have not found out her name yet, have I? She has not offered it, and I've not asked. Yeah. Forest like this. We write songs about stories about forest like this. But we appreciate the help, that's for sure.
I look between the two of us and I'm like, so we should probably get on the way. Come on, Calvin. I was like, slap him on the back. You can get her name later.
She hands Calvin a saddle.
Oof.
And the others will come over and they all hand off their saddles to you guys. And then one by one, they shift. One of them remains, but she turns into a huge wolf, as do the rest of them, seemingly to prefer the animal. And they, essentially, you realize that these saddles probably fit them perfectly. They have brought you their own saddles, understanding that you are not riders, and certainly not used to riding creatures like this.
What creatures are they? Like the
wolves.
You said they're
like dire wolves.
Essentially, yeah.
So
I say this with no innuendo.
Go on.
This is the thing.
Calvin
There's
straps
nothing
on
like
the saddle
that.
and mounts up.
This is the wonderful thing. They have none of this exists in their culture. So, yeah, it's a completely routine thing. But Calvin probably very uncomfortably saddles this woman, climbs onto her back.
He saddles the woman?
The wolf? Might or might not have a crush on.
Context is everything.
And work out.
Saddle the woman.
I'm not making this easy on anyone.
Quote for the agent.
Well, it's still her. But yeah, she, in this new form, she will, drop down so you can mount up, as do the rest of them. And they turn together as a group. Arvin
Dark
jumps,
fantasy. Dark fantasy.
Oh, it can get real dark and real fantasy. Talk to me later. Talk to me later, Squall, about the uncut version. I'll do a little one-on-one with you. But there's a glorious moment where together, these guys live together, they train together, they grew up together, they hunt together, and it shows as one without any communication. They all just move forward in a surge, breaking out of camp and pushing out into the forest. Lucy, it is getting quite dark. As it gets dark, you notice that it is actually not as hard to see as you might expect. As if your stag almost lights up the surrounding area. It's gleaming almost. And it makes its way at quite some speed through the woods. And as you're making your way, suddenly you get this sense of unease. And you feel that the stag slows slightly, looks around, and it looks up. And as you look up, you see that it has grown incredibly dark in the last few seconds, as if, almost as if a huge cloud has moved in front of the sun, except it has been overcast for months at this point. The temperature in the area seems to cool slightly. And give me a perception check.
Sure. Come on. There we go. Sorry, it double-clicked it.
On a... Oh, damn, it's not
21.
One. Yeah. It's not on that one. But it was there. Even when you succeed, you also fail. On a 21, you look around and you see that there is what looks to be a heavy shadow that hangs on the trees around. When your stag moves past them, you get a close-up and realize that it's more than just that. The bark of the tree closest to you has blackened. Not the whole tree. You look up and you see it turns to that grey-brown in the low light. But here, it is black as ash. But it doesn't look like it's been burnt or struck by anything. It just looks rotting. As you glance around, there's more of them in this area. And at 21, damn, on a 21, you spot a figure. Your mount doesn't, but you spot a figure, and seemingly as you draw your attention towards it, its head looks up. There is a figure standing on a branch, maybe 20, 30 feet up, some ways away. You can't make out any details other than they are robed. It's peering at you, one hand touching the tree, and you can see that the top half of this tree, seemingly spreading out from where his hand rests, is the same discoloration of the wood. It doesn't move when you make eye contact, or you assume eye contact. It just stares.
So, there's no detail that I can make out with the robes or anything like that from this distance?
It's a ways away, and it's watching you.
Okay.
And every now and again, branches swaying in the breeze will obscure him for a split second.
Okay.
But he's there.
I will... Lucy's going to kind of try to guide her friend along a little closer to one of those trees that we're passing, and so just close enough to be able to reach out and touch some of the branch a bit with the knife and cut it away and see what happens to this bark. If it stays solid enough, she'd like to grab a piece and kind of examine it.
Seems to be like normal bark, just black as ash, but it doesn't crumble like ash. That you cut away with your new blade. As you draw the weapon, you notice for the first time that it is serrated down one side. It looks like it's serrated with what look to be tiny glistening gems. The blade itself is blue slate, and the gems take on the same bluish hue, but if you hold it in the right light, you see that they are clear. And down it there are druidic markings which were completely alien to you before. They aren't anymore. You can read them. You notice that the blade simply reads stag. On the hilt, it says your name, Lucy.
All right, then.
As you take this bark away from the tree and hold it, give me an Arcana check.
Sure. Come on. There we go.
On a 20,
20.
it's not so much a... it's not so much teaching, it's experience. This is death magic. This is killing the trees, and this is very similar to something you experienced recently. As you look up to look at the man, he isn't there. You can see that the branch he was standing on is now hanging, sagging, wilted, the leaves falling.
She'll just kind of glare in the direction where that figure had been previously. Is it looking like there's any movement or any more of that, like, blight or death kind of spreading from where that is, or it's already been done?
You can give me another perception check if you want.
Sure.
On a 13, it doesn't look like it's spreading, but it does look like it is quite a big bit of damage. Like, it's spread quite virulently and has sort of wrapped its way around the whole trunk of the tree. But it doesn't spread down to the roots, whereas down here, it's almost as if he was traveling on foot and has corrupted the ground and probably down to the roots. What effect this will have on the tree itself, you don't know.
Okay. Well, then. She kind of brushes at that bit of white that's in her hair that she usually braids back. It's pretty easily visible at this point.
There's a wild magic surge for the stag as well from Isreed.
Oh, neat.
He's your spirit animal, so it's on you, Lucy.
Poor BB. Okay. We'll do that momentarily. Yeah, she's just going to stash that bit of dead bark in her belt or something where alongside the dagger, and just kind of brush the neck of the creature. Let's keep going. We need to get back. Master now, I think. They need to know about this.
You begin to move at quite some speed, and as you make your way through, your mount suddenly comes screeching to a halt, hooves clawing at the dirt. There is a wolf bigger than any wolf you've seen in quite some time. Very, very similar to wolves you would have seen overrunning a town. It is massive, and it is teeth-barred looking at you. You have that moment where you stare straight into it. It's standing almost at your height on top of a rock across a clearing no more than 30 feet. You see it, and you feel the stag tense as it howls.
Okay. I suppose you know another way around. You better hurry. She's going to let it move a little bit.
Okay. Let's see what your wild magic surge is real quick, because I need to know what 8406.
It's not particularly useful. All plant-based fabric within 50 yards becomes dull brown.
Your clothing is all plant-based at the moment. All of your clothing turns brown.
I got brown robes now.
A color change.
Cool.
Free dye.
As you realize that as you've taken this this bark, and as you've touched where the bark died, your clothing is made of the leaves that have been finely sort of laced sort of on the outside. They definitely aren't just, leaves that are collaged across. There's some technique that they use to preserve them and keep them in good condition. All of the leaves have turned brown like autumn, like they are dying. And your stag begins to approach the wolf against your will.
What are you doing? That seems unsafe. Stop. She's kind of grasping and trying to hug it back. With not much avail. She's not very strong. And she doesn't want to hurt it.
And as you get within range of you seeing these things move, they move quick and they jump. This thing, it gets close. It's within 10 feet. This thing is the size of your stag, and your stag is not sort of antlers down, ready for a tussle. And then you realize the wolf isn't alone. And the other wolves have riders. Calvin.
How does it?
You appear. Let's do the rest of the party.
Hey, Lucy, you okay? Y'all get on over here. We need to get you back to camp. Ain't safe out here.
Yes, about that, I have news for all of you. Let's get back. Don't mind my new friend. She kind of pats the stag ever so gently.
Like you've been having a good time out here, but Arvin Bale here says that there is demons and the like out here, so we should probably get back.
There's certainly someone out here, and it's spreading death to the trees. She'll just hold up that bit of dead bark.
All of the wolves are now snarling in the same way this wolf seemed hostile when you approached. All of them now have this, and it's like as you're riding them, like you will feel them tense underneath you as if ready to pounce, but none of them jump forward to sort of take Lucy off of her stag. Your stag at that lowers its antlers as if challenging them, and there is a tense moment, and Arvin just, with like one of those piercing whistles that for headphone users' sake, I will not do, and makes a slashing moment and says, "It's getting dark. We can't be out here." You settle this back at camp.
Yes, I have other news as well. Hard as it is to believe, I've gotten a good view of the lay of the land, let's say.
You
We'll
can
talk more
explain all of
at the
that.
camp.
He nods. With that, reunited, the party is going to make its way very quickly, and this is like, in comparison to the track out here, which was the wolves mostly staying close to the ground, picking up the scent and tracking her, they make hell for leather on the way back. Your stag easily keeping pace with them, and it's an odd look for an outsider seeing a stag riding in formation as a pack member with the wolves. But you make your way back, bursting into camp, and you notice that now the darkness has come. People are a little more, well, tense around the campfire. Weapons are at hand, and a few are even raised in your general direction, but they lower them seeing their clan brothers return. And as your mounts drop you off by the fire, they retake their humanoid forms and gather around Lucy. A lot of curious looks, some of them dropping down to crouches to sort of like stare at your feet, and some of them reaching forth to sort of brush their hands, their fingertips against the back of your hands. They seem very interested in you and your return.
Could you not do that, please? Not, sorry, personal space.
They look to the stag, look to you. Calvin, your friend, steps forward, and she reaches up and touches 4 what look to be owl feathers on her shoulder. She clasps her hand to it. Well met, brother, sister. You are welcomed here.
Thank you. And he sort of puts his hand up and does the same thing. Is appropriate to return this, or is that unearned?
She looks sternly towards Lucy. You must kill. You haven't had your first kill. But now the day is done. Not a good time for hunting. Not with how things are out in the woods now. In the morning, you must claim your first. The hunt.
With this, she'll kind of hold up the knife again. It's very clear she has no earthly clue how you're supposed to hold something like this.
As you raise it, the rest of them clasp their fists, and you notice all of them have some kind of animal adornment in that spot. Most of them have feathers. 1 or 2 of them, who you note, have different styling tattoos, have maybe fur or hide, something there, but they all clasp in the same way. And she says, "You are part of clan now. Part of clan stag. You must know these tenets. Hold out your blade."
Oh, okay. She does so.
And she reaches out and she grabs the blade by the actual blade itself, grips it tightly, and then pulls her hand sideways off, and you see blood splash onto the floor. To her credit, she gives a little more than a slight wince, and she holds out her hand for the blade.
Okay. Are you going to cut me with this? She hands it over reluctantly.
Yeah, of course. Hold out your hand.
Okay.
She takes it.
She does so.
And She carefully runs the blade across your palm, splitting the skin. It's not particularly deep, but it does draw blood.
Right.
To earn your place in your clan, you may only once kill your spirit animal. I would not recommend the stag, but any deer, and this is the only time you are permitted to do so. This, and if your life is in great peril. You must always remember at every meal.
Resplendent offering.
At every meal.
Get a peacock melt.
We'll get that in a second. You must only remember.
We'll find one.
You must always remember you are not permitted to kill the animal of your clan unless your life is in great peril. And at every meal, you must make a small sacrifice of food. Leave it your clan spirit animal. You understand?
Yes, of course. She kind of looks to the stag, like almost questioningly, like, "You're okay with this too?"
The stag just slowly dips its head once.
Right. Seems fair. So just the one time and then never again. Not that I'm much for killing anyway, to be quite honest.
You must end its life with this blade. This blade marks you as one of us. As for a wild magic surge, you have a weapon that marks you as an elf. This blade does exactly that. Once you've got your first kill, it is the most forbidden thing to do, to kill your spirit animal without dire need. Mechanically, if you do so, that is you gone from the druidic life. The other thing is always, and this is going to be tough because we're in a famine, at every meal you must take a small portion of whatever you are eating and leave it as a token. That's a thanks to your spirit animal. But after your first kill, you will be joining Clan Stag. All titles, lands, everything that comes with it, as they share this forest with you now. And you guys now have someone who is allowed to walk the paths of the forest unchallenged.
Nope. Also, my wild magic surge is that I die if I slay a zombie in the next 1d6 days. So in the next one day, if I kill a zombie, I will die. So no zombie donations, all right?
You know what I need to do? You know what I need to do? I need to reanimate someone who died in Lucy's life. Have her come, attack Lucy, kill Lucy instantly, and then you kill it, and it kills you. And then I can wipe half the party in one fell swoop. And then as they come to heal, as the rest of the party try to heal themselves, they drink one of the poison. It's going to be Russian roulette. I'm just going to kill all.
Yeah, we're just done.
Yeah,
that's the end. That's the end of Long March.
TPK incoming.
It's all in place. Oh. So, you
viewer decision. What kind of horde comes to attack the party?
We've got a viewer decision. What kind of zombie attacks Will? How many zombies attacked Will this morning?
Yeah. Do we actually have a viewer decision right now?
We do. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
I'll get to that in just a moment. As you guys are now
How many
gathered,
zombies attack the party?
Yeah. As you guys are gathered,
0.
You have an audience. Arvin is there. You note that whoever the shaman or sage was that you met with, it isn't present. No one, you're the only person to have seen him out of the party, and you are currently standing surrounded by quite a few of the villagers. A lot of them now have dropped all hostility towards you in particular. All of them have suddenly gone from the most unwelcoming, sort of shunning kind of people to suddenly hands clasped firmly in a greeting, and suddenly you are one of them.
All right. thank you for the help and the welcome, I guess. But sorry, I really should point this out. While I was, what do you call your initiation when you're out in the forest doing all of that? Figuring out flying and whatever else I did.
There's a lot of sort of looks between people, and they look at you. You flew?
Well, I think I did. I certainly saw the land from up above.
It is different for everyone. What did you see?
Quite a lot of the forest, quite a lot of the land around. But more importantly, forces from Brackendale marching on Rivercroft. And she'll look to Curtis and Calvin and the others and just look quite concerned. I don't know if it was some vision or if it was what I was actually seeing going on at that moment. But I know what I saw.
That's worrying indeed.
With the business of the coronation.
I mean, I wouldn't want to read into visions and dreams, but maybe that apothecary you spoke to, maybe she knows how to interpret these things, whether that was real or something that
certainly felt real.
Forest wanted you to see. I don't know.
It felt real enough.
Forces? Arvin steps forward. And how many?
Loads. I didn't exactly count, but sizable enough that I wouldn't say Rivercroft will manage well.
Arvin's like the only one out of the gathered group who really looks like he takes this to heart. He looks pretty worried. The rest seem kind of disinterested, more interested in the fact that you flew. There's a real split.
Sure.
And yeah.
But hang on a minute. About the flying.
Wait.
Are we still talking about that? Is that still on the table? Like, what's going on with that? But Arvin looks gravely to each of you and do you think coronation? Maybe they've. If word has got out that the prince is missing, that the nation is leaderless,
they'll have seized any opportunity. They wouldn't waste time. Curtis, I know you and I certainly didn't trust Stavros.
Go on.
What do you think?
I mean, I think he's capable of doing most things to get the power. I think that's all he's interested in. I don't trust someone like that who doesn't have any loyalty. He was loyal to the old king, not to the prince. Perhaps he got used to that position and wanted more.
Striking a deal with Brackendale would give one some power.
Right. I wouldn't put it beyond him.
No. But it's conjecture.
Right. We don't know where this cult of the void is, correct? We don't have any leads.
Well, that was the other thing I saw. Somebody here is killing the trees. I saw them with my own two eyes. Standing up on one of the branches, just touching the tree, and death spread right from it.
At this point, everyone turns, and you go from having an audience to having a protective detail as people grab weapons, draw blades, axes, mostly pickups, bows, and around you, word spreads like wildfire through the camp. Arvin, Curtis, you recognize a man who just completely lost control of a situation. Arvin is that man right now as he realizes that he has just lost sort of all the influence over what the clan is about to do.
I don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared the next time I looked. Wasn't close enough to see any detail, just robes. Maybe a wizard, maybe one of those void cultists.
Okay, could you find a location in the forest where you think he might have been?
I think so. She'll look to the stag and rest a hand on it.
Maybe he could show you.
You think we could go back there? I know you don't like it.
He snorts through his nostrils, seemingly put out by the idea, but you get the sense that if you will it, he will ride. But Arvin reaches over, places a hand on Curtis's shoulder. There's nothing that you can do that they can't do faster. This here, this is one of the largest clans. It's not even one clan. This is a communal point. All clans gather places like these, places entwined with magic of the forest. Because of that, we have enough to send out scouts. You can check the local area.
Okay.
I don't mean this in any disrespect, but folks who don't know the land, just slow them down.
Seems that way. I don't claim to have any connection with this forest, and its people seem to know a lot more about it than us. Perhaps they will report something back and we can find a lead for these cultists. Or this wizard that you've seen, Lucy.
If we
Maybe
do,
therein lies more answers.
we find
Maybe.
anything, I'll send word. But you can't stay here. None of you can. Just as you won't be any use to them out in the forest. They don't know the lands of Rivercroft. We need to know what fate lies to the north. We share borders with Rivercroft. We have supplies, food, things that Brecondale covets. They're making a land grab, trying to expand their territories. 1/3 of Rivercroft isn't going to sate their hunger. They'll come for us. We have stockpiles of food. Not enough to feed all of the people, but we have enough to make a difference. If Brecondale lay their hands on it, the rest of the world, the other kingdoms, they won't see any of it. Not without cost.
So what would you have us do, Mr. Bale?
He looks. Once again, Calvin's friend just looks out. She's in the process of getting ready, but hasn't moved out of earshot. And she turns, catches his glance, and she just suddenly looks angry. And he's like, please. It's the only way to get them back. She whispers and she snarls something. Lucy, you're the only person who will understand what she says. Though you don't quite know how you know what she says. But she chews out the word outsider with venom. But it's not in common or any language you're familiar with. It's directed directly at Armin, and he winces, seemingly to understand
Right. Well then, should we, maybe save the arguing for later and just, get on our way?
Seems like we've overstayed our welcome, and Mr. Bale has nothing left to give us here. We'll let the elves do their business in the forest and strike out on our own path again to find the prince. Or maybe it's time to return home and see what's happening at Rivercroft.
Do you think he's even alive? I'm starting to wonder.
He's either alive, which I don't think's a good thing, because he might be something worse. Or he's dead, which may be the lesser of two evils.
We can decide which way to go when we are on our way, I suppose.
Yeah. Let's get out of here and leave the good people to their troubles. We've caused them enough.
Indeed. Where how is Sarah doing? And, Duran?
Yeah, we should probably check on them as well.
As we look back, all of this has been going on the other side of the fire, out of sight of and out of earshot of the healer's tent. And Sarah and Duran are laying there. Duran is in the process of trying to get up and reaching for his armor, which is badly damaged. Huge split down the front, which has already been seen to and sort of hastily repaired, but it's not properly fixed. And he looks at it, and as he runs his hand through the inside, through the lining, Sarah, you watch as his middle finger basically just parts the seam ever so slightly, and you see his skin on the other side, and he sighs dejectedly. Well, that's going to be a fucking problem.
What?
He looks down at his gut, where his wound is still very raw, but mostly healed over, thanks to yourself. And very tentatively pokes his finger gently into the skin, right on the edge of the wound, and you see tears come to his eyes.
What are you doing that for?
Just
You really are stupid.
Checking for infection. Have you seen the state of this place? He looks at sort of like the grass and mud that's makes up the entirety of the floor.
I don't know if you know, but I've seen worse.
Yeah, me too. And he begins to try and slip on his armor, bringing it very gingerly over his shoulders to slip down across him.
Do I think that he wants help putting his armor on, or is this one of those I gotta do it by myself kind of moments?
He's got to do it by himself moment, absolutely.
She'll just kind of stand there making look like she's doing something, then fiddling with her weapons, testing her hand.
You feel your strength is coming back, but you have a lack of like real feeling, almost like you've got a dead arm. You can control it, and you can't tell how strong your grip is, but like you can like grab hold of something and lift it, and it doesn't fall out of your grasp. You just have this numb sensation that runs through all of the arm, as if you suffered nerve damage from the prolonged absence of arm. He finishes sort of lashing the armor to himself and pulls it taut with one grimacing biting of his tongue and finally ties it off and manages to stand. I think I've lost weight.
She kind of rolls her eyes at him standing. You think that you're good enough to walk now? The others are probably worried sick about you.
Yeah.
Given the state that you were in when you first came here.
What kind of state am I in now?
A sordid one.
What are you going to tell him?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot to take in all at once.
Yeah. It's supposed to be one of those moments where we sat around a campfire and we could break bread and chew the chaff and all that shit. None of them felt
I don't know if you... There ain't much bread to go around anyways, so... What's one without the other?
He like laughs and grimaces as he reaches down and picks up, and there is like essentially a plate laid next to him, but all that's on it is a single berry. And he looks down as if like steeling himself to take particularly unpleasant medicine, picks it up, and it's just like, yeah, you ain't kidding, this ain't no way to live. Pops it in his mouth, chews, and it's just like, gets the job done, I suppose.
This is going to be...
Awkward. Yep.
I think that you should go first. Go on. Make your grand entrance. Sure, it won't go amiss.
He looks like he looks very uncomfortable, but he nods. Alright.
I give him a steely cold stare, like he has to do this. You have to do this after what you've put me through. I don't give a damn that you just about died right there.
Knows, like he winces under the gaze. You see him flinch, and as he flinches, then sort of wince in pain as he tenses muscle that ain't ready to be tensed. And all right, and he picks up his sword, testing the weight, and very carefully wraps the belt round his waist as he begins to walk out of the tent. You see one of the healers rushes over to him, and he just waves her away, and she, almost like she doesn't want to touch him, as if there's something there, but he pushes her aside and makes his way out round the fire as conversation is wrapping up with you guys.
Should we read out these wild magic surges here from Dave? Tia? That one's quite good.
Yeah. Mine is amazing. Sorry, this is what I was bursting up laughing about earlier. Caster, next summoning yields 1,000 fluffy white rabbits.
Okay, your strength.
I've got ducks and rabbits now. We got a pig and a peacock. And
when we're done, there's going to be a petting zoo.
Yeah. Fun. Amazing. Jess, what did you get?
Well, target sprouts a small foot from the top of their head. Yep.
Oh, amazing. I love mine. Mine is super handy. So let's go back. Let's rewind a minute to episode 0 of The Long March, where I got a wild magic surge, which read that I can't use any bladed weapon. I now have, I can't use weapons that contain wood. So fuck me, away with my blowgun. That's gone. So I could
perhaps
probably
you should
still
just
use my
become a
ice pick.
pugilist.
Yeah,
Worst.
I think I'm just gonna have
Worst rogue ever.
absolutely the worst.
multi into monk so you can just be barehanded.
Yeah, I'm done.
I was just typing that in chat. Would you
Amazing.
look at that, Ronan?
God damn it.
Good.
Thank you.
So do I see
Thank
I
you.
see Duran coming?
Yeah, you see Duran coming. He's limping slightly. Like, he looks like shit. There's no way he should be on his feet right now. Looks like a stiff breeze would blow him over. But he comes limping around the fire, which is a lot more intense than when you left. It's now a pillar of light that lights the entire camp. And he has his one hand sort of like holding the hilt of his sword. Not ready to draw, just sort of his hand sort of resting there. His other hand is against his stomach. He sees you, nods.
I give the hold me back look to Lucy. I'm gonna
Yeah,
step towards him.
Lucy's just
What
going
the-
to like grab him by the arm with both hands. Curtis, no.
What the hell do you think is wrong with you?
He pulls his hand away, checking for blood.
I'm standing right behind him, right?
Yeah, you see at that point Sarah kind of steps up behind him, or next to him.
The healer. She told us who you are. To Sarah. Why would you keep that from the girl?
Sarah, give me a perception check.
It's okay, it's not like I can actually hurt this man with any kind of weapon. So
Slug him in the face pretty good, though.
yeah, he's fairly safe.
Yeah, Sarah, he got a 6. You see him shake his head slowly, like he goes wide-eyed, looks at Curtis. This is clearly news to him, not something that he's given up to someone, or that he's aware that he's given up to someone. And suddenly he glances down and sees Sarah's looking at him.
It's all right. He didn't know. Not at the time.
He didn't know.
He didn't know.
I served
It wasn't-
with her father.
All right, this is fun. I have fun playing games. I remember when I had fun. I'm kidding.
It was a Wednesday.
That's what you get, though.
Wednesday, so 4 weeks ago. Yeah. No. Please do explain how you didn't know who your own niece was.
Yes, I find that very interesting. Sounds like there's a story there.
Okay, my first wild magic. If I am carrying rope, I wind it tightly around my neck.
Are you carrying rope?
Are you garroting
No.
yourself? You have a garrote.
Curtis, you wear some very fashionable, sort of like smart military uniform. You have some rope, but you have it tied sort of in like a necktie, like a very sharp, crisp, eldritch knot.
Good
Texas
looking out,
lasso.
Josh.
Tie.
My next one's even better. So you remember that peacock mount? I disgorge an ostrich egg. Or a peacock egg, probably.
I cannot handle all of the eggs. I cannot handle all of the eggs.
Oh my god, you. Oof. He's gonna give birth to his
It's a Yoshi.
peacock
It's a
mount.
Yoshi. It's
The
like a
only
Yoshi.
way he knows how.
Oh
And
my
then-
gosh. Why?
My last
Why?
one
Why did this
is that my attempts at scrying yield visions of horrific carnage. I'm going to be doing that anytime soon.
So you, Curtis, you've been given
What's wrong with you, man?
You've been given some supplies from the road, for the road, including a couple of things. One of them, unbeknownst to you, is an egg that isn't a normal egg. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a fashion.
Yes, I remember now.
My God. Right. So
yes, I said to him, "Please explain," and then
yeah,
I started laying eggs.
You said about Sarah being the niece of Duran, which will be news to Sarah, as you weren't privy to that. You knew he served with your father. You didn't realize this man was apparently your uncle.
This is immediately applicable, so I'm just going to interrupt. Target can't see or hear living creatures for 2d6 rounds. So 1, 2, goodbye for a minute.
That's shock right there.
That's shock.
It's just...
Sarah, you were going to miss the explanation if it is coming. And yeah,
I also want to use my tantrum for this week during the same time and start screaming about how I can't see or hear anything after they have their interlude.
Okay. He looks at Curtis, looks at Lucy, looks at the floor. I'm not close with my family.
And so you thought that was okay then? To not tell her? I mean, how close can you get? She's standing right next to you.
I hadn't seen my brother in 20 years. Okay? I went out, I made a life of my own. Wasn't a life that my family wanted me writing home about. Wanted anything to do.
I can't imagine why that is.
Look, I've done awful things. I haven't lied about that to any of you. Curtis, you know as well as I do that Stavros isn't going to hire a man to do the things I do unless he's got priors, unless he understands how to do his job. I made my way in life and I ran with a bad bunch. We did everything, any job, anything when there was coin involved, we'd take it. And one day, war comes. I ran our group. Came to us with a deal. There wasn't enough men fast enough. Armies had to move across the continent. Breckendale, well, they were hiring. They cut us a deal. Freedom from previous crimes. Clean slate. We'd contract for them. Not in the fun way, not in the good, honest living way. We had all the jobs that no one wanted to admit needed doing. Food riots in the capital needed stomping out. Soldiers going AWOL. Tiefling sympathizers, anything. If it was a job and it needed doing, we did it. Most of my crew split up. Half of them dead. Others ran. Some just transferred. He reaches up and very carefully lifts his sleeve to show the brand of 2 capital B's, one linking through the other. Nicknamed us the Bastard Brigade. No one would work with us. No one liked us. No one acknowledged us. Because we got all the shit jobs, we had a high mortality rate. Stopped learning names because we lost so many. And then one day, this fucking guy comes out of nowhere. As I'm trying to eat in the mess, almost breaks my fucking jaw. I was on my feet, knife in my hand. Figured it was someone I'd screwed over in the past, and I didn't realise how right I was. My own fucking brother. First time in 20 years. Barely recognised him. Fight lasted, I don't know. He fought well, but he hadn't been fighting as long as I had. Finally knocked him cold cock out, and me and some of the lads, we dragged him to one side, tied him up. By the time he came round, I'd had a lot of time to think of shit I'd done. So I tried apologising, which doesn't work particularly well when you've got someone tied up and a knife in your hand. I wasn't going to let him loose. And then he forgave me, just like that. Gave me some spiel about it not being important, about it being in the past, about the war being the only thing that was really important right now. Lives being on the line, all that fucking shit. He didn't tell me about Sarah at first. Never laid eyes on her. She takes after her mother. I knew she was out there. Sarah's a common name, what are the chances? My dad went AWOL from my group. A couple of us were sent to hunt him down, but we never found him. And you lot rocked up at the castle. I didn't know her from Adam. It was just someone who was tossed on my plate. Stavros gave the order. And I'm trying not to fill my rap sheet so quick after the war. And he just got a clean slate. And then after you left, Stavros wanted reassurances on all of you. Wanted to know how they could leverage you, keep you quiet if need be. Told me since I got so intimate with Sarah, look into her. And I found out who she was. What I'd done. not here because Stavros sent me. He probably put 2 and 2 together. He didn't give me any orders to follow you or travel with you. It's the easiest way I could convince you to let me come with you. Try and look after
Do I believe him? I'll roll an inside check on this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
11.
Hard to say.
Hmm.
There's coincidence in there. It's, you know, story. He does look in pain, but does have a gut wound, and he is standing far too soon. So, I mean, he's a very hard person to read on a good day.
How long have you known that she's your niece?
The night in the tavern, and I'm guessing one of these fucks, just looking at the people around, sent a message, planted a fucking tree through the place. When I came to meet you, the day I took a leaf out of my brother's book. Went AWOL, snuck out of the castle.
Why didn't you tell her?
Fuck,
Do you not think she deserved to know?
What am I supposed to say? He looks
She's
to
been
Sarah.
looking for a family.
This whole time, all she wanted to know.
What was I supposed to say? I have no idea if he's alive or dead. I have no idea where he is. Last I heard, he was being hunted by some of the most ruthless fuckers that I have ever met in my entire life.
What?
Do you not think she even deserved to know that? Your cowardice is outstanding for a soldier.
What do you mean he's being hunted? She kind of grabs his arm and shakes it a little bit, and she's just kind of tired from days and nights of crying.
He almost doubles over in pain as you shake his arm, which shakes him, and he clutches at his stomach, and you see crimson just not pouring forth. You see tiny spots of red appear through the seams where he's had his armor closed, and his hand comes away with droplets of blood, and I tried. Look, they gave us one order too many, okay? They told us to do one thing too much. And he was the only one who had the guts to stand up to them.
And he's being hunted for that. Is that right?
It was before the war ended.
Then why
No
come
idea.
with us? Why even bother if you weren't going to tell her anything? What was your plan here? Just hope that something happened? Hope that she never found out, maybe?
Sense of responsibility, perhaps?
Guilt?
Or that.
What does it matter what his reasons were for not saying? He's still the only family I've got left. And as much as I've come to understand what it is that we're doing, it doesn't matter. It's not your decision, it's mine.
I'm not
I
making any
believe him.
decisions for you. But he clearly can't be trusted.
Please don't send him away.
He's not in any condition to travel, Sarah. You should not even be standing on your feet right now, Duran.
I can heal him. It's just going to take a few days of rest. I can't leave him. I have to know where my father is. He wasn't even there when my mum died.
Our stay has been... We've overstayed. Here.
Yes.
Bale wants us out of here.
Arvin like holds up his hands, just sort of like, "Hey, I'm not in this." Like for a moment, like he genuinely looks like he doesn't want anything to do with this. But he looks at Duran and he looks at him like clearly disgusted.
Let's heal you up best we can, and then we'll sort out how we get on our way, I think. Whatever that looks like.
Arvin steps forward and says, "Usually, this is only permitted to those who are clan chosen." And he looks over to Calvin's friend, and she just looks fed up and grunts something akin to "get on with it" in Druidic. And he, again, seems to flinch at her words. And
she looks at this one and is just like,
"You're not very patient, are you?"
She's just like, no patience whatsoever. And you know that, like, she almost you seem more in with her. In fact, you and Calvin seem more in with her than Arvin does. And Arvin's supposedly sort of welcome here and has been living here for some time. He says, "We have a way that we can get you back." Almost as... He pauses. "Well, I can get you very close. Not me." And he holds up a hand sort of like to ward off a fence, and she sighs. "But we can get you close the way you started."
You mean back to Rivercroft?
"I mean back to the tavern you left. And I can get you there now."
The
I
tree.
don't know what state it's in. He nods.
Well, so that was you guys.
That explains a lot.
He just
Thanks
shakes,
for that.
like, gives you that kind of like, don't push it look to Curtis, like, and it's not like that aggressive. It's like a please do not bring this up. Like, this is a thing that happened. I've already been through it. Do not go there.
Lucy just gives Curtis a sharp elbow in the ribs.
Arvin is just like fires out in every direction at like all times. Like that is.
Lucy just elbows Curtis sharply and says nothing.
Yeah, before we forget, Josh, we do have live viewer decision.
Oh yes,
whenever you're ready for
indeed.
it.
So, guys, this is the perfect time. This is what I was leading towards. We have a tavern that has a redwood tree that is basically driven up through it, lifted it partly off the ground, so it's now like run through. Guys, if you were in a town and one of the main pub in your town got skewered and lifted partially off the ground by a tree and was no longer good to be used as a tavern, how would you repurpose it? What would you like to see in your town from a building that was halfway up a redwood tree?
Cool, how has the tavern been repurposed, will be our question.
There we go.
Awesome, we're getting those ideas.
Arvin says, through the trees. You ever hear the legends of Scopsford Forest being birthplace of all life on this continent? Well, this is one of those legends. Every tree that's ever grown, you can trace it back here, go back far enough. Because of that, they all carry a tiny spark of the forest with them. I can only do it once. If you're ready.
If it'll get us there.
As ready as we'll ever be.
You sure we gotta leave? Calvin says, looking at his lady
I know
friend.
you've made new friends, but
She
perhaps
looks-
there'll be time for friendship after we sort things out here.
And pressing.
As Calvin kind of like maybe gives her the look, she's not got any attention for him at the moment. She looks like she's trying very
Come to
hard.
think of it, now might be a good time to leave. he gets the I'm dancing with my friends tonight look. So
it's not there's no hostility towards anyone
not that I know
else.
what that
It's
is
just
at all.
Oh, too real.
Close to home.
Right in there, I'm dancing with my friends tonight.
Oh god.
46 years, man. You hear a lot. You hear that a lot.
So she
I
playing
assume we'll
D&D with the
collect
rest of my
our things
friends.
first.
she
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you.
turns off, and as you guys gather your stuff, they you see Arvin is standing by a tree, and there is a group gathered around it, and you actually see a figure that you recognize, Lucy. It is the seer of the group, who has his hand on the tree, and as he's pressed his hand against it, he's taken what looks to be a bone knife and is carving sigils into it. And as he carves them through, occasionally he pricks his finger with blood and just draws almost like inside the grooves. And finally, he seems to sort of dig the blade in about 6 foot up. And despite the fact this guy is very frail looking, he drags the blade down, splitting the bark. And as he does, light begins to pour from the wound. And he gets down and sinks the blade into the grass at his feet. And the party watches as people gather, giving you an avenue to walk towards the tree.
Well, that's useful.
Hmm,
You ready to go?
I am.
Duran moves, standing honor guard style by Sarah, not trying to hide his protectiveness now, but again, doesn't look particularly fit for duty, but he marches on without complaint. Calvin, you see your friend is standing there, and for a moment, her demeanor softens slightly, and she glances up from where she's everyone's sort of looking down, almost bowing their heads in a sign of farewell. But she glances up, and you see just the tiniest flicker of a smile play across her lips as she gives you a sideways glance.
Calvin just sort of gives a crooked grin and a smile back, and then bows to say, just bows in that same way that they're bowing and gets ready to go.
As she smiles at you, the guy standing on her right glances up, makes direct eye contact with you, turns to look at her, and she just jabs him in the side with her elbow, and he just, all right, whatever. And Lucy, you see the seer standing before you, and he smiles, he's calm.
Thank you, by the way, for,
She gestures vaguely in the direction of the knife and just everything.
Have you changed back into your robes, or are you still wearing...
She's kept what she's got for now. She's got her robes packed with her, but
Yeah.
left this on for now.
He nods and reaches out, and he just gently touches you on the shoulder and your bare shoulder with nothing but leaves covering it, he says to you in Sylvan, remember to hunt. And to remember, the blade must be what takes its life. Do this only once.
Understood.
You always have a home here, Lucy. Clan Stag.
I may need it, I think, after this. Comes very much appreciated. Thank you again.
Your home was always here.
Be safe. All of you. There's danger out there. Now I guess we go do our part.
Nods. He gives you a smile, and he has that very old man kind of. It's not a patronizing, but it's has seen things kind of look, and he
knows
nods,
things.
knowing, yeah.
The old twinkle in the eye.
Yeah, and he reaches, and bony fingers reach into the light of the tree, and he pulls, and as he pulls, you hear the wood creaking as if he's tearing the tree apart with his bare hands. And through the other side, you hear noises, indistinct, and blurs of color. Oh, now.
Well, she'll look to the others. Ready to go? Everyone?
Think so.
Sarah will reach
Nothing
up
left
and
for
take
us here.
Duran's hand.
Duran
Yeah.
feebly takes it.
Curtis is still visibly, like, angry at Duran.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Let's go see what Duran's man has waiting for us.
Sarah,
Indeed.
you'll feel him flinch slightly, but he doesn't say or do anything else.
Be on your
Who steps
guard,
through
everyone.
first?
I'll
Lucy
jump
will
for it.
go.
Yeah.
Like Lucy and Curtis both try and step through at the same time.
I'm sorry.
I'm so terribly sorry. No, after you. No, after you.
So after about 10 minutes of that.
Yeah. After the mandatory 10 minutes. Will, have you got the answer for that straw poll?
I have it in the VMix chat for you.
Okay. Oh god.
It's good. It's real
no.
good. It's not zombies, so
Wow.
I like it.
Wait, what? Oh, I was reading the one underneath it. I was like, and I don't know what I don't actually know what I read. Okay, cool. Okay, you guys step through, and immediately both of you are hit in the face. Not hard at all. It's not even painful. It's you ever had butterflies or like specifically like moths, when moths get in the room and they're just dumb and they're flying around and flying. Yeah. It's like that. It's in your face and it keeps hitting you, except they're glowing and they're just all up in your business.
What in the...
As
What
you
is this?
God damn it, it's
Swipe.
fairies. Why did it have to be fucking fairies?
You
Son
swipe,
of a bitch.
and as you make contact with something, Lucy, you slap it. You hear, "Oi! What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Why would you?" You see, like 3 of them have congregated together, and you see one of them is like slowly spiraling to the ground, and the others dive after and grab it and sort of carry it over to what was the bar. What is now a glow behind, almost like it's been lit with string lights, like Christmas lights, but they're all moving independently around behind the bar. There are a few people sat in here, very drunkenly looking, and you see one that is kind of like a cyan, kind of turquoisey, bluey green, deposits one of the other sparks on the bar and flies back and flies right up to your face. Who the hell do you think you...
Would you get personal space, please?
Personal space? You just struck one of my employees, you bitch!
If I come through this one, Josh?
I was gonna say, can we be there? I'm sorry, I jumped in too soon.
As you guys come through, there's a spark in Lucy's face, just like, how fucking
Yell it at
dare
me.
you?
What the hell is going on here?
Son of a bitch!
grab it?
Oh Lord!
Can you grab it?
Hell
Yeah,
are these people?
make me a just
Why
a
are they so
dex
small?
check.
Okay, just a dex roll.
Yeah, you managed to grab it. She rolled terribly. You grab it and sort of like your hand begins to
Delicately,
glow.
gently.
Yeah. You're not going to be able to grab it like that. Like
Yeah.
you can grab it in your palm, but like it's tiny.
Listen, why don't we have
You
a
feel it,
little
like-
conversation?
Bouncing around in your head.
Stop kicking me. That's rude. Stop.
Don't
it.
waste your time. I'm telling you, don't waste your time. Fucking fairies, man.
Oh,
And
you dealt
actually,
with
he
them
looks
before.
around him. He looks around him, and he goes, "Son of a bitch, fucking fairies." As the reality of what this is comes, and there's the
Literally.
A fairy brothel. Thank you, chat.
We can't stay here anymore. We've got to find new lodgings. The
Sorry,
normal brothel
so
is
sorry.
better than this.
Yes, so sorry to have gotten in your way. We're just passing through.
Oh no!
She's gonna.
Oh no. Lucy's going to reach into her stuff and pull some of that tiny, tiny halfling money she had and just like shove a coin at this creature and let it go.
Grabs it and
Well,
is
you're
now
trouble.
like floating in the air, and it's just.
Well, you're
Do you
trouble.
think I'm going to let you stay? You can, all of you. I'll have security. You see slightly larger, slightly larger glowing things come over. What the fuck's going on here?
Josh, do you remember Angel Cook? Maybe if I said in
No.
this voice, Angel Cook!
So
Season 1, yeah. Laurelani with £10 donation, the return of Angel Cook.
You're welcome, Chad. You're welcome. Worth every penny.
So
Oh,
there's all
Lord.
these tiny, beautiful, glowing fairies, and then suddenly the floor trembles. And you see
God.
a huge,
What is that?
twisted, clawed foot come stomping down the steps.
It's him.
Eh,
Can't be.
Now you've done it! You pissed the manager off!
Good
Just
God.
get out of my face!
Sorry. Yes,
You
I think
will
we
be.
should leave.
Oh! I'd like to see you try. She gestures to the patio.
Let's get out of here.
I need, what happened here? When we were here, there was a dwarf and he ran this place. What happened to the dwarf?
And then a tree burst through, and well,
Yeah.
we've been why the fuck why should I even tell you? You've been an arsehole. Well, you haven't, but she has. I'm guessing you're kind of an item.
She's my ass. No.
She's your ass.
That's not.
If you want a serious piece of ass, I can sort you out, honey.
Wow. Okay, I don't think either of us could survive that. That's,
Why couldn't it
No.
be a fairy I was supposed to kill?
there's been a misunderstanding here. We came through a portal.
Well, I know you did. I can see it.
Yes,
Okay.
we were
Begin
just
to
trying to
close behind
return
you.
here. Oh God.
So,
We're trying to come back to the
I'm going
dwarf
to
and
leave.
our lodgings here. Clearly,
oh,
we've
you
made a
have
mistake.
lodgings. Oh, we can sort you out with lodgings. Don't worry about that.
Oh, I'm sure you can. That's what I fear.
What
So
are
much.
you? What is a fairy? What is
Oh,
this?
God,
She
no.
says, tugging on Lucy. What is this? Can I have one?
Then
Hello,
Don't tell them
gorgeous.
anything else around here.
they're
We'll tell you
nasty
when you're
little
older.
creatures that will play tricks.
Sarah keeps looking up at
let's
all the
just go.
adults like, what's going
They are
on?
all like all the fairies are swirling above them. Sarah, one comes up to you and like just grabs your hair gently, like lifts it up
No.
as if like running its.
If you
fingers
tie
through your
knots in
hair.
her hair,
What?
so help me.
She's underage.
We can plait her hair, make her look pretty. She'd be worth
I
it.
want to have my hair played with.
Oh
Can I please
my-
have my hair played with?
No, because then we'll have
No.
to cut it all off. You'll never get it untied.
Right,
They've
start
already begun. Like, it's already half planted.
What are you
I gotta-
doing
I gotta-
with my hair?
I'm gonna grab Angel Cock, by the scruff.
Angel Cock steps up to you. Angel Cock is about 5 foot tall and looks demonic. As we
Something that shouldn't exist.
tiny little fucking wings, horns, vicious looking teeth.
Now listen, Angel Cock, or whatever your name is. Me and my friends are gonna leave here. No, you're not gonna tell anyone that we've been in such an establishment as this. You understand me? Or so help your Angel Cock. There will be more Angel and Cock left once I'm done.
He
God,
reaches
You know how
out
that's
and
going to go.
That's
you just
not what not at all what I meant.
Angel Cock reaches up and places the most lubed palm against your face.
Oh no!
I told you. Calvin is just freaking.
We've got to get out of here now.
It's the world's most lubed hand.
And Angel
My
Cock
whole body
opens
feels
its mouth,
supple.
and it does indeed. His breath, even his breath, smells like Angel and Cock. And he looks at you and says, "Are you looking to get fucked, sonny boy?"
Oh, definitely we are not.
Calvin's going into full PTSD of his younger days as a bard when he wasn't really quite making it. He was living on the streets, and he's just like,
Rough circuits.
yeah.
I think that you want to right step off, mate, or I'm going to cleave you in two. I don't give a fuck how big you are.
She'll
He
do it.
looks to you, tongue like dripping out of its mouth, past needle-like bladed teeth. Just
I move a hand down, my magical hand down to my sword, and I look like I'm not afraid of him.
Duran looks at him, looks at his sword, looks at him. It's just like, oh fuck. Angel.
We was just trying to be on our way, and then he started trying to cut off my hair, and I've quite had about enough of this. I just want to go. This place sucks.
Your hair drops to
we're
your
leaving.
side. You have a plait that is longer than your hair should be, that comes down to sort of like mid-chest, that is dropped over your shoulder. There are flowers that have been woven through it.
Oh, well now I'm sorry I got mad. That's pretty.
Let's just get out of here, okay?
Angel
That's
Cock turns. Curtis, make me a strength check. Or a strength save, sorry.
Shit. I just want to have nothing in.
Oh my god, that's a nat 20 versus a nat 1. That is a nat 20 versus a nat 1.
Oh
Let's go back into
no!
the portal.
Curtis,
Oh, no.
is picked up. Curtis, you realize this thing isn't gripping you. It's just the suction from the lube. It's
Oh
the
my God.
yeah, and
No.
he picks you up and begins
Oh my.
to walk to the
Holy
edge.
Luke, God.
And he marches Curtis outside. And Curtis, you realize there's a reason they said you couldn't just leave. It's not because they're being dicks. It's because you are 30 feet off the ground.
What?
The tavern is no
If
longer anchored to the ground, and he holds his hand out. Curtis, you are dangling off the edge by your face, held in place by
If
the
you
most
drop him-
loved hand.
Casting
If you
Featherfall
drop
on him
I'm going to
now.
burn that
Down.
whole place to the ground.
Right now, or so help me gods, your lubed hand
Sarah draws her
will be
sword.
detached. Just like Sarah's. Sorry, Sarah. Didn't mean that.
Sarah, all of the fairies suddenly are now swarming in between you and Angel Cock. There's maybe 100 or so. They're everywhere.
Everybody, let's run and jump. I've got this.
All right, and Sarah starts running. and
Lucy's
jumps.
gonna run for the terrace.
As
out
you
of
run,
here.
Sarah,
Once we're in the air.
Sarah?
Please don't have any dead magic zone. Please don't have any dead magic zone here.
Sarah,
Okay.
Sarah, I have a question for you. Has Sarah ever
Right.
swallowed a bug before?
Ew.
Yeah, probably on purpose during the
Okay.
famine.
Wait. Swallow.
Swallowed a bug
Bug.
before. As a
bug.
fairy,
Used to eat a fairy?
a fairy suddenly
I
zips
heard a
into,
boat.
like,
Have you ever
fungi
swallowed a
out
boat?
of-
She's like, yeah,
swallowed
on my spare
as a fairy
Gross.
flies into your mouth and you choke for a second as you swallow the fairy by accident. And
There's a
Ugh.
what?
Ugh.
and you guys like run to the edge and jump. Angel Cock just brings its hand close and like it caresses your face, Will. But as it does so, it breaks a seal, and there's with a soft pop, you fall. How are you? What's your landing strategy, guys?
Go out
Calvin
and
jump.
jump.
I'm gonna trust my
Featherfall.
wizard. I'm gonna trust
Yeah.
my wizard.
Calvin's
I don't know
built the
about you.
Yeah. Casting Featherfall on us, man. I have my
Calvin-
spellbook back.
Calvin hasn't jumped. Calvin's still at the bar.
Calvin's still at the bar, watching this unfold. He unfortunately is fully aware of the situation.
Calvin,
And,
a tiny hand caresses your face. You guys
Oh,
have
God.
jumped. You guys have just
Yeah.
run and jumped. So
Unholy.
Yeah.
what's
Ideally,
your
we should be
free-
gently floating down now.
Okay. You
And
cast it.
until
It's a 60-foot range, up to
Okay,
5
you
creatures.
guys- Yeah, you guys start to slowly descend to the ground. Curtis, you need acid or something. Like you need to be
acid in
clean.
my face. Just splash acid over just fuck up my face even more.
Where's that lethal potion?
I was gonna say, your poor face has been through. Acid might help.
You,
We've
you
never
guys
gone back
jump
in there.
and float to the ground as you realize that the entire foundations have been torn up as the tree continued to grow and have lifted the tree up. As you gently splash down in the water, Calvin, you're standing at the bar. A tiny little hand caresses your face. Hey, gorgeous.
Hello. And he pulls
Like
out
the
his
Edna mode from The
bandolier and
Incredibles. Hello, darling.
pulls out his bandolier and strikes a minor key, a very sort of mournful minor key,
Suddenly,
knowing
the whole mood changes in the bar. All of the lights suddenly go from like bright, vibrant colors to dimmer, and their buzzing movements suddenly become subdued and slow, as if suddenly very.
And he goes, does another minor key. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was the bleak December. He goes on, reciting dark poetry, knowing that nothing calms down a room of fairies like some dark, dark fantasy poetry.
Oh, buddy. And as you
Goth
see,
Calvin
one by
has
one,
arrived.
one by one, they put on tiny shades and their light dims and the mood sours and business slows, and finally one of them, just one stroke in your face, is just like, I could have been a bard. And just slowly, mournfully just begins to fly behind the bar. It's just, could have been somebody.
Yeah. He keeps on, each
That's close.
separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my book surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. And trying to get them all thinking of the dreams that they once dreamed.
They're crushed. A lot of them stop flying. They just fall to the floor. They just congregate on tables. Their lights flickering, dull, subdued.
I stroll over to where everyone else has left. Say, have a nice evening, Angel Cock. Jump off and cast fly on myself with my Bandolier.
He's Batman. Fuck.
Angel Cock has slumped by the door and is just looking at his hands. I shouldn't exist. I am a monster, and I disgust myself. And he just clasps his hands, and you hear them sucker to his face, as both of them are the most lubed hands ever.
Combined, he is the most lubed man in the universe. Their power
Calvin.
combined.
Oh god.
Together we
He
are.
forms the Megatron of lube.
And Calvin just floats down. Knock it! As yeah.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
Just fucking fairies. Good lord, that brings back memories. Can we get the hell out of here?
We never speak of that again, ever.
Never.
Calvin has a slightly yellowish handprint across his face that is gelatinous and moist.
Let this be my dying declaration, because I have died inside. We will never speak of that again.
Curtis.
Lucy's gonna take a cloth and just like kind of mom spit that away.
Lucy, burn that cloth. Burn that cloth,
Yeah.
please. I will ruin your character if you do not burn that cloth.
I'm gonna want to burn my face too, so if you have any acid.
She
I would
drops
appreciate
that cloth and firebolts it.
It burns intensely and with an odd aroma that you think you remember, but stop yourself.
Anyway,
I get a looby wild magic search.
A Louis. Oh, it'd be something good.
Okay.
Let it be something. Let it be
Hey,
something appropriate.
this is actually good. The lube looks like it protects me because I'm invulnerable to normal weapons for the next 4 turns.
Dude, you're frictionless, so it everything slides off.
Weapons just slide off. I'm a gelatinous ooze right now. I'm just.
Oh lord.
Oh,
Why is
God.
this happening?
Wax on, wax off. You have a sheen, a gleaming sheen, and yeah, you are.
in my costume.
Lucy, as you go to like put a consoling hand on him, like your hand just slips clean off. Like Curtis is everywhere.
It's like a grease spell, but worse.
So
yeah,
where are
much
you
worse.
guys?
Worse.
I throw up my hood.
Shame.
Well, there's only one other place. There's only one other place in town we've got any friends, and that's Artemis Remo's place, the Silver Serpent. Suggest we see if our friend's there anymore, or if he's gone undercover as I suggested.
From a fairy brothel to an actual brothel. Wonderful. Let's go.
There's less lube. There's less lube at this one.
Duran winces.
So much less.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
So
You
much.
don't want to know where that lube. You don't want to know where that lube's been.
No.
Or how it's
No, I don't.
or how it's made,
No.
says Duran.
How did he get so much, Calvin? How did he get so much?
What is
You
lube?
did notice the size difference of the critters in there?
That was the most lube.
What is lube? What are you going on about? What? Why
So
is this
much.
so
We are
funny?
not having this discussion today.
What can men do
We're not.
against such reckless lube?
What?
Oh god.
Sarah, come with me. Let's.
They stood
What
on the
is
shoulders of
lube?
giants.
Who am I, Kurt Calvin?
They only asked if they could, not if they should.
Oh no.
Oh, god.
Yeah, Lucy's gonna take Sarah.
Lube
away from
finds a way.
Sarah
like
goes with
teardrops
Lucy
on
and
the
is just like,
mountain.
what? I want to know. How come you won't tell me? What's going on?
Maybe when you're a little bit older.
Duran is...
old enough. I lost my arm. How much older could I possibly get?
No one had a chance to count the rings on your arm to see how old you are, so we'll have to just wait.
Is that Duran saying this?
Yep.
Duran can explain that to you.
He's also got fresh blood because he dropped, and which he had to run. He ran 30 feet and he's torn his stomach open in a place. He's in a bad way still.
Buddy,
you don't run the day after you were stitched. It's a bad idea.
The
She drops the subject. She drops the subject. Okay. Well,
and
all right then.
You guys can, make your way to the Silver Serpent if you want. As you do so,
I'll be right back. I need a minute to detox. I need to wipe away the shame.
Need to go clean
Never
myself.
comes out. Never comes out.
The twitchy eye just. So, as you guys move through town, you will note that town is different. There are far fewer tents. The stage that was opposite is gone entirely, and there are many fewer people in the streets. There's also no marketplace. The whole marketplace, bar one or two stalls that look like they've been there for quite some time, have gone. All of the buildings that were there, the walkways that were erected to keep people out of the mud have vanished. There's still debris, flotsam and jetsam, but everything is gone, bar a few bits that are being packed down still and packed onto carts. This was supposed to be a month-long celebration. It is not prevailed, it would seem. As you guys make your way through town, there are very few people out in the streets. Mood is dour. The ferry brothel seems to be somewhat of an anomaly. Which I guess a ferry brothel is an anomaly pretty much. I can't say that word. I can't fucking say that word. Is pretty.
It's just weird.
It's just weird. It's weird no matter where you put it. It's a weird place. But yeah, everyone around seems dour, keeping to themselves. No one makes eye contact with you guys as you make your way through, and you see up ahead that the Silver Serpent. The doors are open and there is no one guarding it, but there's no smoke, there's no smashed windows or anything like that. It is just open. There's no sort of shisha smoke pouring out like there usually would be. It's late in the day, the sun is almost set, and as Curtis has stepped away for a moment to take an acid bath, who's going to lead their way into?
Calvin, why don't you?
Yeah, I guess Calvin will, because I do know, my folks, my friends there. I gotta find her name.
Elizabeth.
Thank you. There it is, Elizabeth, behind the bar. She's a friend of mine. She doesn't give anyone drinks for free.
No, absolutely.
And Calvin heads in, kind of wonders where the bouncer is, because again, being been around different establishments of both ill and iller repute when it comes to fairy brothels, he knows that someplace like this doesn't usually not have at least someone working the door.
That probably quickly shrinks to the back of your mind, because there's no one working the bar either. There are people in here. The people are stacking chairs. The whole place is deserted of clientele, and the aforementioned bouncers appear to be packing.
Not stacking, like flipping chairs on top of tables at the end of the night to literally packing them to leave.
Yeah, some of them are pushing them out to one side. Others are breaking down stuff to be transported. You can see that there is a group gathered around Artie Remo's booth. The lights are burning brightly in here. Every other time you've been here, it's been quite low light. The stage,
no incense, I assume.
No incense. The door's open, so any smoke would have just left. There's no one behind the bar, and the bar is almost completely empty of bottles and kegs and ale.
This is a bit of a change.
Oh, this is...
Should we look?
The brothel's always the first to open and the last to close.
One of the guys rounds on you, looks at you. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck? Boss, we're close.
We're friends, Hardy's.
Yes.
Pauses, looks awkward. You see a couple of fellas stand up behind him to sort of back him up, and then you almost like when the grass parts, but you can't make out the predator coming through the grass towards you. You see these men getting pushed aside, and then a very tiny 3-foot tall halfling pushes everyone aside, weapon in hand, and looks at you and just drops his blade to the floor.
Hello again.
Shit. Fuck me sweetly.
No, thank you.
Yeah, we're just as surprised about whatever the hell's going on as you are. What is going on?
How the fuck are you still alive?
Well, that's a long story, my friend.
Why do you seem so surprised about that?
Lads, fuck off. Give us a minute. Grab whatever's still behind the bar over here. Be quick, sharpish. I don't have a lot of time. And he hops back into his booth. You notice there's paperwork everywhere that's in the process of being stamped, signed, everything like that. A lot of it looks like it's not like contracts or anything like that. A lot of it looks like it's labels for goods. There's probably going to be affixed to crates and stuff like that. He's marking everything down, giving it his seal of approval, checking contents over. There's a few crates stacked nearby, and he waves you over. There is a completely destroyed picnic hamper, which you will recognize as the one you gave him a few days ago, which has been torn to pieces, and every scrap of food, every breadcrumb, every drop of what is gone. There's just a messy plate, stacked up high, empty glasses and coffee cups, and he waves you all over, having snap of his fingers, having one of his goons bring over what is essentially 2 half-drunk bottles of wine and a keg, which sloshes like it's probably only got a few dregs left in it. And he waves you all over in a hurry. Fucking Christ.
Why did you seem so surprised that we're still alive?
Well, because I bet word of what the hell happened down at Farmer's Rest has made it to here, yeah?
Too fucking right it has. How long has it been? My God, it's only been a few days. It feels like weeks. Where the hell were you?
It was a long march.
Oh, did you?
Son of a bitch, we were so close. We were so close. It's a dream, boys and girls.
This is my dying phase.
What's the donation for me to have Edgecock to show up? To get,
I can't go any further down from this. This is my lowest point. I can't fight with anything. I'm lubed. It was a long night.
Yeah.
We destroyed Will.
He runs a hand through his hair. His hat is sat sort of slightly scuffed on the side, and you notice his tie's not on properly. His shirt looks like it's yellowed from sweat, and he looks a mess. And he, God, all right, well, you first. I've got to collect my thoughts about what you missed. What happened with you lot?
We headed down to investigate, and
didn't find much.
We barely. Well, I'm not sure we did make it out unscathed. Well, I guess we're alive. A whole lot of folks aren't, though.
What about a prince?
Didn't find
Who
him
the hell
there.
knows?
Yeah, that's
Still
it.
not sure
We're
where
out
he
of
is.
here. Lads, pack it all up. Fucking everything.
What is
He
going
looks
on? Why are
stressed.
you gotten so fidgety? You seemed so calm before. You seemed like you were totally in charge, and now you're just running
That's
around
because
with your head all
someone
screwed
else
off.
was in charge. I'm okay
And-
as long as someone else is running the shop. Someone runs the big shop, I run a small part of that shop, okay? With no one at the helm, fuck this noise. I'm out of here. Mental
So I
out.
assume.
Wait. What are you talking about? Is not
Well-
Stavros still in charge?
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a coronation. Nobody showed up.
Oh,
What's
Doesn't matter
happened?
who is.
fucking plenty of fucking people showed up, believe me.
Well, right, but I'm saying, basically got stood up at the altars. What happened? Yeah, unless you got a prince that you pulled out of your ass.
No, we didn't have a prince. We didn't have anyone, including Stavros.
Great, son of a bitch.
He's gone. No one has any fucking idea where he is. And he's not playing hide the sausage or anything like that. Fucking local guards, fucking guards in the castle,
Hide
hell,
the
his
what?
personal guard have no fucking idea. They're interrogating people, cutting people down in the streets, trying to find the fucker. They have no clue where he's gone. Last he was seen was up in his quarters. Then,
Is there a steward? Is there anyone that's in charge at the moment? Captain?
Stavros was all we had. We had a couple of other nobles. Most of them were scarred.
Nobody next after him?
Yeah, there are a couple of people who could contend it, but... Oh, you don't even fucking know about... There's rumours that we're being invaded. Apparently,
I ain't no rumor.
Brecondale have fucking troops on the march. And there's no one
So
here
it's true
who's
then.
willing to take that position in that fucking castle and stand in their way. We've got no prince, we've got no king, we've got no steward, we've got no spy master, we've got nothing. No one wants this. Everyone's fucking scarpering. This is done deal.
Brecondale are just gonna walk all over Rivercroft then. Just gonna walk in. They set this whole thing
Yes.
up. Got rid of the king, or the prince. Stavros, probably their man on the inside, now he's gone. It's weak and undefended, and then army just waltzes straight in. Lucy, this is the army that you saw in your dream, right?
Hold
don't
on, hold
doubt
on.
it.
Whoa. What's all this about dreams and armies and shit?
She's magical,
Oh, right, yeah, shit.
and she sees things.
You could phrase it
Like
better.
Well,
I had a portent. Let's put it that way.
what?
I could
The future,
see
she can
the army
see the
marching.
future.
Was I in it?
I could see them marching from Brecondale.
What happens to me?
I don't know. I didn't see
You
it
weren't in-
closely.
Wait, does that mean I'm dead? Oh, shit.
They were clearly marching. If you stick around, probably you'll die if you're not going to fight.
Oh, like, fuck am I sticking around? There's anywhere one place that a man like me can make some fucking money, it's IRR. Place is already corrupt as fuck. I'll slip right in, no one will notice.
I suppose you'd be willing to at least give us a bit of information before you abscond for good and make your profits elsewhere.
Like what? What do you want?
Well, we going to stay and do something about this, everyone? Or shall we
You
just
guys can.
count our lucky
I
stars
don't
and
want to
go?
fucking face a fucking
I don't-
army.
Intend to leave everyone here to die. I don't intend to leave.
Everyone's
This may not
leaving.
be my country. But you can't just watch everyone die here.
Well, you're not going to kill
Hey,
everyone.
If
You're
the
just going to take the land.
Calvin's just like,
I don't know about
we're
that.
the last coach out of town. Look around you. Fucking ferries took over the inn. Every merchant
Oh,
shop.
don't even get me
packed up.
started on the fucking fairies.
Oh, wow,
Might even leave even if-
don't you even think you can compare stories with me about fairies, my friend. You run a nice place. I've been in places that are far less nice than this.
Oh yeah, the
But
fucking
anyway.
silver serpent just fell into my fucking lap. Don't talk to me. You don't have to fucking employ the fuckers. Dealing with them's one thing. Writing
Never mind
contracts
then.
out for them.
Holy shit! Yeah, no, yo, you got me beat. You got me beat.
There's a moment like he drops like all the chaos and panic leaves him. And he has that 1,000-yard stare. Like I've seen things, very things.
I'll be quiet now. But Curtis, everyone's gone. We're the last whore in the ghost towns, propped up somehow up against the wall.
Then what?
Reckon I can stop here.
He looks you all up and down.
Yes.
You're all fucking
We
human.
lost.
I mean, look, folks like me, we ain't liked in Brackendale, okay? Folks like you,
No, you're not.
you got the right blood. You're all human. You probably, I don't know, no fucking idea what border control's like at the moment, but you probably make your way there. Or you do the smart thing, you come with me to Ironheart, you forget all about this shit. Let someone else figure everything out, because like, fuck am I dealing with all this? Look,
Fine, then go. Don't really need your help that much.
under cover of darkness, okay? I got room.
Fine.
I'm willing to take you guys with me if need be. You can hitch a ride, get away from this fucking place, get to civilization, regroup, strut out on your own, do what you want. But I am not waiting any longer than it takes for me to load up everything I can carry. Fuck it, if you want it, the place is yours.
Thank you. We'll take it.
What are we supposed to do against? What are we supposed to do against an army?
Exactly.
We've got to do something, no? Or,
Why?
I suppose you could just leave.
Don't get me wrong, you ain't gonna escape an army heading to Ironheart. There's no fucking
you're
way the
not.
elves are gonna take this lightly.
And Brackendale's really not going to stop here, I think. It's not the way they do things.
Well, Miss Breckendale, you probably can inform us as well. What they do with folks who they...
Miss Breckendale, what the fuck?
You're leaving anyway.
Yes, that's right.
That's a fair point. I didn't see anything or hear anything. He looks at one of his guards. Fuck are you looking at? Piss off.
Breckendale, humans, kill... Anyone they find, wherever they go, when they're on the march, I know as well as you do. Human, conscripted. Everybody else, killed.
Yes, more or
They
less.
only know their machine of war. So we're either about to go join the army.
Wait a minute. And Curtis gets that look.
Oh, son of a bitch! You ain't. Oh, you. No, I know what. I know what that
All
look is.
humans. All of us here are human.
I'm a graduate of the Mages Academy of Breckendale.
You fit right in there. And we could flee to Ironheart. Sure we could, but we aren't anyone. They don't give a shit who we are there. I mean, we're just some guys that got sent on a mission by Stavros who fled and is a traitor to his country as far as I'm concerned. But what if we could get inside their ranks? Find out who's behind this, at least. Not an assassination necessarily, but maybe an assassination. But mostly a fact-finding mission. We find out who's behind this and why. Then, when we have some information that we can bring to Ironheart, then we return.
It's possible. I know a few people that may or may not be in the ranks at this point, depending.
That's good, and Mr. Remo's resources here maybe it could be useful as well. Bit of a disguise kit here and there. Why not?
Fuck it. I don't need to blend in anymore. Whatever I've got, you can have. You're good folk. Always pay your tabs. Actually, I've only ever been in here once. Oh, fuck do I care?
So, We joining an army or are we opening a tavern? Either way, we're going to have...
Calvin, set of keys hit you in the chest. He just throws you the keys. He's just like, I'm done with it. Like, there's nothing he can do with the building.
Well, it looks like you've opened the tavern.
Welcome the fucking army with open damn arms.
That's right. Who better to welcome an army than a bard? Huh?
No,
you know how to run these places. You've
son
been
of
all
a
the time.
bitch, are you... Oh, Matt.
And me.
Well,
the
at
face
least
of it
there'll
all.
be food in the army.
Exactly. They'll need
That
food,
is
they'll
true.
need drink. They'll need to be welcomed
Where do you
into the
expect
country.
Oh, Matt. This is the worst idea you have ever
This
ever
is the
had.
best idea I've ever had.
Duran
Friendly
leans
a
forward
dangerous idea.
and says, I know my opinion isn't exactly worth shit to you guys. And as much as he's gonna hate me for agreeing with him, Curtis has a point. They got a lot of troops, but they ain't gonna turn troops down. Especially not with skills like we've got. I don't know how much use I'll be, even if I'll pass selection. I might get separated from you lot. But Sarah can shoot and has tricks up her sleeve, apparently. Lucy, I don't know what the fuck's going on with you at the moment, but don't deny it scares the bejesus out of me. Curtis, you're a spy. You know how these men think. Calvin, well, you're here.
Appreciate it. Remind me not to drag your ass out of an exploding wagon next time.
Remind me not to be in the exploding wagon next time.
Yeah, that would help too. So why don't we just sit here and just set up shop in a goddamn bar that's about to be invaded? I'm all in. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Remo, can you leave us at least like one crate of food and maybe some booze? So when they open the door, they don't, we can at least pretend like we have hospitality?
You can have anything I can't carry. Everything else is going with me. If it don't fit on the wagons, it's getting left here. I'll leave you
Nothing
in
ventured, nothing gained, Calvin. This is the only way that we can possibly strike back at them. Everything so far they've expected us to do.
One problem with all of this. Well, I've already packed this sign. You're going to have to name it. Well, let it set on the wall as well. If it looks brand new and fresh, well, I might cast a curious eye at you. But it's been there for...
I can take care of that.
Well, go on.
You're creative. You can do it.
Well, as much as I don't really give a fuck about the building itself, he says, banging on the wall, I'm curious. What's the name of this place?
Huh. He starts scrawling across the end of it, above the bar, creating and using a greater image, the new spell that he knows. March's End, of course.
Oh, you fucker.
You
And
did that. You did
On
that.
that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up with March's End.
Hey,
I really didn't expect you guys to take the tavern. Fair enough. I just
You didn't expect us to take a tavern? That was
I was going to say, hey, we could have the rest of the campaign in the tavern.
In the tavern.
Oh my god.
No, we're never leaving.
We're just gonna
This is
run an
just
informant
the tavern.
operation out of this tavern.
Tavern real estate simulator. This is what this is going to be.
Here on the
It's-
Long March. There's no actual marching.
Well, my friends, that is where we're going to end tonight's episode of The Long March. If you enjoyed the show, let us know. Thank you guys for all of your crazy donations. As always, all those wild magic surges and peacock mounts and worse. Thank you guys for that. If you enjoyed the show, of course, hit the follow button and join us. We're going to stick right with us here on Encounter Roleplay. We're heading into our next game, D&D5E, The World Tree Burns, of course, our Kobold Press-sponsored Midgard campaign, so stick with us for that as this band of miscreants get to a whole other world of troubles. But let's go around the cast and crew. Did we enjoy ourselves? Where can we find you guys online? Josh, great episode tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a blast. It started off really dark, and there was a brothel, and now it's ended with someone dying in the background. I don't know who that was. Someone just died in the background.
I'm so sorry.
But,
My dogs are having a fit.
Oh, fair enough. Well, yeah, I genuinely... I've noticed this. If you play... that is still Jess's cat, confirmed. Well, we have a thing going on now in Long March. If you play for long enough, eventually you come to own a tavern. Because, Kazna now owns Tuscan's Tavern, and now you guys have March's End. This is now a thing. So let it never be said that you don't get anything from me, guys. As for me, my name is Josh, and you can find me playing a character called Kane, who really fucked up. He's a Dampier Ranger that speaks through his pet owl now. So many voice things happening. Anyway, I'll be on Midgard shortly, but
great stuff.
Go around and speak to
See you there in a minute. Jess, same questions for you.
Well, that was fun. Really dark in the beginning there, but then we ran into fairies, and we ran into fairies. No, it was wonderful. It was a great time. You can find me here. You can find me on a couple of other D&D streams and Twitch things. I stream periodically. Just look on my Twitter at Little Cup of Joe to find out what the heck I'm up to.
Amazing. Thank you, Jess. And Laurelania.
Hey, I had a lot of fun. It was really interesting seeing Lucy's character development. I really like watching the other characters develop in this. It's definitely, we have all known each other where it's not just a solo adventure with a group of other people. You know, I really care about what's going on with the individual characters. It was great to see Angel Cock return and have the most lubed hand ever.
Now of this brothel.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see where we go from the tavern. You can find me here on Twitch in like 5 minutes on this channel, so stick around. You can also find me in my name with Laura Lanya right here. I'm my TM Zimmer for my Twitter, and I run a Dungeons & Dragons Discord, and I'll post that for you in a little bit. Also, join the Encounter Roleplay Discord, because there's lots of fun stuff in there.
Awesome. And Tall Squall.
Hey, I am Tall Squall, and you can find me all over social media as Tall Squall. I will be at San Diego Comic-Con, if anyone else is out there, over the course of this coming up weekend, and then Gen Con later in the month. You can find me all over social media at Tall Squall, especially through my Twitter account. Also, I am launching a new publishing venture with my good friend Bird vs. Plane called Bird in the Storm, and we did our second teaser Tuesday of some of the stuff that we are doing. I'm linking it in the chat. If you want to check it out or retweet us, we certainly appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun pulling it together, and we will be doing some play testing both digitally and live at Gen Con coming up soon.
Ooh. Awesome. Well, my friends, we're going to dive right into our next game. Thank you for joining us here again on The Long March. Every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern is when you can catch us live here, or you can watch back on YouTube, of course. Hello, people on YouTube who are still watching this for some reason. Until next time, my friends, try not to draw too many nat ones, because we want to be here laughing when you do. Good night, everyone. Bye!